Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Bird, founder of Acquisition Conference, coming to Salt Lake City on March 21st, 2025, and I'm seated here with Mike Clark. Mike is a seasoned wealth manager who began his career as an award-winning leader at Johnson & Johnson before discovering the power of high-end financial education in Utah, transitioning into advisory roles. He's helped clients harness sophisticated wealth preservation techniques and has raised over $42 million in capital for various projects. Recognizing the inefficiencies of isolated financial services, Mike now bridges the gap by building and managing digital family offices for business owners. His mission is to empower entrepreneurs with integrated financial strategies that maximize cash flow, maximize taxes, and secure multi-generational legacy wealth. Welcome to the show.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the best interview or bios that I've ever heard.
I mean, I don't even, I'm so uncomfortable to sit here right now with this podcast with you based on the description. It was so good. Anyway, so we're on Acquisition IQ podcast right now, and we're going to talk more about the strategies, techniques, and what business owners can utilize as to have that wealth preservation. But first, why do you love what you do? And share with us a little bit more about that.
So one of the reasons why I love what I do is working with companies and raising capital. What I found, which you kind of alluded to, is that there's so many advisors that work with business owners, but very few of them work together. It's always, that's not my job, it's theirs. It's not my job, it's theirs. Or don't talk to me until the end when you sell the business. But in reality is that if you're looking at an exit, it has to be structured the right way at the very, very, very beginning. And what I love about it is that knowledge is power, right? And there's so much misinformation out there about the financial world, and just shedding a little bit of light in that corner to help business owners make better decisions. Because here's the reality. 1 in 4 businesses actually sell. That's horrible. But there are things that can happen that you can shift to make yourself put yourself in a better position to actually sell your company at exit, whatever that is, right? That's why I love what I do, because it gives them the power to make better decisions.
Collapsing time.
That's it.
Yeah, through the aggregation of brilliant minds.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And the problem that we have is that you've got entrepreneurs building companies working with non-entrepreneurial professionals.
True.
Right? I'm not taking anything away from CPAs or attorneys or whatever the case is. Most of them are not in a position or haven't been taught to do these things, to forward think, to be the visionary like a CEO. They just hang a shingle on a door and they say, hey, I'm open for business, and then they move on. But things are changing so rapidly in the business environment. You need professionals that are going to push the boundary of your business to make you, kind of force you to be better business owner, better CEO, so you can focus on growing the business while the team is focused on actually protecting the assets, protecting cash flow, and putting yourself in the most optimal position for the exit that you desire.
Begin with the end in mind. It's absolutely crucial.
100%.
And with every single business, the amount of hours and time, blood, sweat, and tears you're going to pour into a project, you want the maximal exit. Can you share with us how, in your mind, you would have a maximal exit and maximal value creation within a business?
So, and that's interesting because it's really the vision of the business owner, right?
Yep.
The challenge is that the business owner doesn't even have clarity on what that exit is, right? They just think that some point in time, this is their unicorn, right? Their baby, I don't mean to say babies are ugly because they're not, but their baby is the most beautiful baby in all the world, and anybody would be ridiculous if they don't want to buy it. But the reality is they don't have the systems and processes in place to actually sell it. And they think that sometime in the future they're going to sell this thing. But really, there's death, disability, divorce. There's circumstances that just bad things happen. And you may have to sell your business tomorrow. Is it ready? And most oftentimes it's not.
We speak about, and we've talked to, and I have talked to service providers, the solo entrepreneurs, and experienced that myself, right? As we're starting, we're continually growing in a multitude of areas. And then also we're seeing other people that have these service-based businesses that are $1 million, $2 million, even more. But if they leave the company, it stops.
Right.
Or it would be really hard to divest. So how do you create value within a company, not just a service-based company, but how do you create those systems, or what advice would you have to somebody that is wanting to create that transferable value?
Right. And so let's define that first. So
Yes.
if you have a business that's owner centric, right? If they're not there, it doesn't operate, right? And that's the term that exit strategy advisors will use, right? And so the first thing is to really start building a team, hire a coach, right? Whether it could be an exit planning coach, it could be a business broker, it could just be a business coach. Hire a coach that will help you put in systems and processes, roles and responsibilities that allow you to take a step out of that technician role, right? Michael
Yep.
Gerber talks about it in the E-Myth. Get rid of that technician role and become a CEO, and understand that a CEO is the visionary of the company. They're not meant to do the minutia of the work. If you have to be in every decision in your business, it's not a business. It's just a high-paying job. And most oftentimes, it's not even a high-paying job. It's just an overworked, low-paying job. And so without those systems and processes, you cannot get to the level that somebody's going to buy it. And then allow the people that you hire the autonomy to do their work. I mean, I don't know how long that saying has been, is like hire slow, fire fast. Yeah, that's what it is. But people don't do that. Take the time to hire the person that is fit for that role, but you have to be clear on what that role is.
Yeah.
You have to be clear on where you are and what your gap is, and fill that gap.
Just imagine the amount of money that entrepreneurs that own businesses have spent on employees or vendors where they didn't quite understand what they really needed, but they just dumped a bunch of money into things that didn't even matter.
Right. And look, it's not even, and this is crazy, is I always pick on HR people. I pick on a lot of people. Dang.
It's okay.
Probably should not do that. But like, management needs to talk to the HR person and be clear with what they're looking for. But you're 100% right, is that you just go out and you look, I need somebody to do X. And you go out and you do a basic job description, you hire that. But business owners don't know how to interview. They don't know how to really get to the root cause of why this person's coming to you for a job, what they're looking for, what their motivations are. And there's books and all kinds of coaching around this. But yeah, they waste so much time, energy, and money hiring the wrong person.
It's all about value creation. That's what we're touching on right now, because at the end of the day, we do want to create a company that is transferable and has immense value upon our exit. But it's so important to have that exit created in our mind, but also to have advice from others that have been there and done that.
Right.
So share with us more about the value creation process of being able to create a company that is ready to be sold.
Well, the value creation comes from, once again, clarity. Like, what do you like? You didn't get into business just to be overworked. What is that for yourself? So there's a value in the marketplace for your business, but there's a value for you and your family, right? At the end of the day, you're making money. That's what you want to do. You have so much of your personal time and assets wrapped up into this business. Sometimes upwards of 80% of your net worth is wrapped up into this business. And so the value creation is making sure that that entity, that business that you've created, is actually shareable to the world. And that comes down to simple systems and processes. Like, you have to have those. And that's what people are going to buy. They want to know, is this going to be a sustainable business if I buy it? And so as a business owner, the value really comes from taking a step back and just looking at it just unbiasedly and saying, if I walked into this, would I buy this today? And if the answer is no, then you've got a problem.
Well, ask yourself why, right?
Yep.
And then start implementing. You've said this multiple times as team, but then also there is a disconnect amongst individuals that are not talking to each other to create an optimal performing team. Can you share with us a little bit more on what you've seen with deals that haven't gone well within the exit, but also deals that have gone good and based on their optimal communication?
So when companies go raise money, you need certain people, right? You need, let's say you're putting a Reg D offer in, you need legal documents, right? So you need a security exchange attorney. You need a business attorney to set up the entities. And you need a CPA to talk about tax planning, right? More times than not, I always I talk to the business owner or the business attorney and say, look, the security exchange attorney is asking for this. And they're like, that's not my job. Okay, well, you're the entity structure, so it is your job. But then you talk to the CPA, and the CPA says, well, look, the entity structure is that job. I don't do a tax plan until you sell the company. But the securities exchange attorney is saying, I don't do business entities. So it's everybody's like, they're in their little silos, and they're making decisions based off of their silo. But really, if the entity structures, most companies start off with an LLC, right? But nobody ever teaches them when to convert to an S corp. And so the CPA doesn't necessarily know, because the CPA is afraid to give that recommendation, because heaven forbid they're wrong. And it's a whole different topic, but they're afraid of losing a client, right? So they don't have a repeatable process to get a client. So they don't want to make a recommendation to you in fear of being wrong and losing you as a client, when all they'd have to do is reach out to a business attorney and say, hey, by the way, just out of curiosity, when would be a good time to switch to an S corp on a business standpoint, right? So then you've got these people just, and then you got these people just running in their own lanes, and then you got the financial advisor telling people, hey, just do a 401k or do a simple IRA for tax deductions. Well, there's more high-end strategies on that standpoint than just a 401k. So the bottom line is everybody's operating in silos in total fear, which is, by the way, look, on a psychological level, when we were growing up, we didn't get to cheat, right? What did our teachers say? Do your own work.
Yeah.
Don't cheat. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't work off of Johnny's paper. And then we grow up, and all of a sudden now we're supposed to collaborate and work together. We're not trained that way. And so we've got to create a paradigm shift with these professionals and push them to work
collaboration.
Work with each other. And if they don't, then the business owner needs to step up and really fire them.
Yeah, we're seeing more collaboration, I think, with this next generation of business professionals than ever. I think, based on social media, based on partnerships, based on the ability to have one so there's just more of that we're seeing. But I'm glad that you brought that up, though, just because from a business owner standpoint, those of you out there that are watching this, just make sure that you've got everyone at least on the same page, and you're having your monthly stand-ups. I mean, how do you strategically put it together? It sounds like you're like a quarterback,
Right, and that's the thing. Business owners, I spoke to a tax strategist. I'd interviewed them last couple weeks ago, and he said, look, the role of the business owner is to go make money. Go make money, right? Let the team do what the team does. But it goes back to clarity. If a business owner can't clearly define what they're looking for in their business, they cannot communicate it with the team.
True.
Right? And if the team doesn't have a clear path, well, then they can't operate, right? And so what that means is, once you get, what do you want out of this business? And then what is that time frame? Great. Now let's start putting at the very beginning, at the very minimum, you need some sort of tax professional and a bookkeeper, right? Just to manage books. And as you grow, that team will grow, right? You've got and nowadays you got fractional everything, which makes it even better.
Yep.
So you hire a fractional general counsel to review your contracts. Then you hire a fractional CFO when you get to that level to start really putting together a plan financially that matches the vision of the CEO. I want to take the company here. Great. What does that mean financially, right? Do you take on money? Do you go get debt? Whatever the case is. But as the stages grow, you hire different coaches, right? A high school coach isn't going to coach Jordan, right? And as you go through athletics, because a lot of us played sports, each step, each rung, you hire somebody more qualified to get you from point A to point B. The problem is business owners just, hey, I've been with my CPA for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, so?
Why?
Yeah. Well, I've got my sister-in-law doing my books. Really? Is she a bookkeeper? No, she took some accounting classes in school. Okay. Like, let's
This
really
sounds like family businesses. This is good, though. It's so true. Many people go down that route. But again, this is all about value creation, about how you can create the most valuable business to have a transferable business. At Acquisition Conference, you're going to be helping us with the panel discussion. What are some of the questions you feel that are going to be most pertinent for those in the audience to listen, but also those out there that are watching this that are in essence our audience as well? So, what do you think the best questions would be to ask these individuals?
So really,
that
how do
are
they
on the
how
panel?
do they work with other individuals? Like where does their profession stop and start, right? Where are they at in their silo? How do they view certain things given their profession? But how does that correlate and overlap with the person sitting next to them, right? Because at the end of the day, they all do, right? And then more importantly, do they proactively take a stance in referring professionals that are going to be the benefit of the owner? And it's amazing how many times I've asked service professionals that question, and they do not actively refer. They just, hey, you know what? If the business owner asks me for a certain professional, I'm happy to send a referral. And it's a total different mindset from a passive to an active, and that really is where I want to get the people on the panel to not just for the audience sake, but really create a paradigm shift if they're not already doing it. And then have the audience go like have an aha moment in the sense like, oh wow, like my CPA hasn't referred me a business broker. They haven't referred me a mergers and acquisition guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do I sitting in the audience, how do I begin to ask better questions to get better answers, right? And if I have better answers, I get better results. Right? What do I need to do in my business that's going to create more value and drive more revenue that I, as a business owner, am going to get what I want at that sale? And it doesn't necessarily mean a sale, right? There's succession planning, right? You could give it to a key employee, but then again, it takes clarity. Like you have to be clear on that.
I want to sell my company, and I'm in the process now. Who's the best team member in multiple team members that I need to have on my side in order to make that happen?
Perfect. So first off, this is the biggest question. And it's not really a question; it's a statement. Really, is that if you think you're going to sell your business tomorrow, you got another thing coming, right?
Okay.
This is
proper time.
This is a process. So if you've done nothing, right? You've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, and you've done nothing. This is a 3 to 5 year window, right? For a lot of reasons. So on the team, you need a qualified CPA. You need a tax strategist. You need a transaction specialist, right? And that may or may not be a CPA, don't know. You need a business broker and or mergers. Some of the business brokers do mergers and acquisitions. And then you need an advisor, like a financial advisor, to work on the cash flow side of it. And here's why. Is that 3 to 5 years, most companies, right, especially small business owners, they've commingled their personal funds and their business funds since the beginning, right? They're running up business expenses on their credit cards, right? So the first thing is you need to separate those two. You're business and you're Nathan. Those are not the same, right? Then most business owners are stripping cash to go pay for their new boat, right? So get your finances in order, right? So separate personal finance from business finance. So now you're starting to get a real representation of cash flow and the EBITDA in the company, right? There you can actually generate a true valuation, and there are tools online to do that. Then from there you start looking, analyzing in terms of, look, there are 3 options. You're going to shut the lights off, and you're going to go home, and you have nothing, no retirement, no sell. The second option is that you're going to shut the lights off, but in the meantime, you're going to use the cash flow to build a retirement for yourself. And then the third is you sell the company and you have a retirement pool, right? And every time I ask business owners that, like, which of those options do you want? And they're like, I want the third one. Great. What are you doing for it? Nothing. Great. So now we have an entity. It's separate from your own. Now we can adjust the cash flow, making sure that the cost reductions, all the strategies are there to maximize the cash flow. Now we can start putting together tax strategies to use that cash flow in an appropriate way to build the business owner's retirement plan, whatever that may be, right? Now, if it sells, great. If it doesn't sell, the investor is going to look, Or if it does sell, the investor's going to look and say, oh, well, look, he's putting $100,000 into a retirement plan. Well, that's the whole idea of the EBITDA, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to put that back into the company. But unless that's separated,
You don't know.
you don't know, right? And that's the kicker. But most business owners
Discipline.
most business owners are running their books haphazardly. Get a bookkeeper. It's not the same as a CFO or a
People
CPA.
hold you accountable at least for sure.
That's it.
And I think the size of company, does that matter considerably as well? No, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
Because the owner of the $10 million company still's, you think, commingling funds, or
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they're and this is the thing.
just because it's not organized?
I love how you said that. Right?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Because look, an S corp is still a pass through,
True.
right?
Yeah.
An S corp, you have a reasonable salary. I love that word, reasonable. And there's ways to do the reasonable salary. But I just talked to a business owner the other day. They have an event company out in LA. Okay, she pays herself like $250,000 a year. They're doing about $4 million in revenue, and she's like, "Well, it's a pass through, meaning at the end of the year, all the cash flow minus expenses goes on her own tax return anyways." And so business owners are like, it doesn't matter. I mean, she just happened to have a salary, but some business owners are like, well, look, if it's going to come to me anyways, it's mine. So it doesn't matter how I take it. Well, it does matter.
It kind of does, yeah.
It kind of does.
Just in case if you wanted to actually sell your company, because it needs to be separate.
It needs to be separate, right? So if you pay yourself a reasonable salary, this is the other part. Like if you got to take this a step farther. If a business owner has a family and all of a sudden they need a car,
Yep.
if you don't have income, getting a loan for a car is somewhat difficult. Doing stated income and all the loans, which is not my expertise, but if you have a salary of say $200,000 or $100,000 a year, well then you can go to the bank. It doesn't matter if it's your company, but you can go to the bank and be like, look, I make $100,000 a year. Okay, and then anything on top from the company is still extra, but it's still clarity. I make this. So you can get a home loan, you can get a car loan, you got any loan that you want, and it's a much easier process than going the stated route. So people don't think of it in all of these aspects of their financial life, and I often liken it to a financial junk drawer. Like we all have them. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what the piece is for. Why are we holding it? And yet there's nothing to say that any of this stuff works together. And that's why the team helps get that clarity, at least on the standpoint of financials.
Increased valuation of your business is predicated on the organization of the outsourced team members that help the organization function optimally.
Yeah.
That's in essence what you're saying, and I think that many people out there need to know that. Man, this is good.
Yeah,
You're good at what you do.
It's fun. Nathan, look, it's at the end of the day, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, depending on the stats, businesses sell. I think that's absurd. Like, why
should be more?
Totally should be more. And it's just because of people bury their. I mean, it's the same thing with personal financials, which is a different topic, but they just bury their head in the sand. They've got 14 hats that they're wearing. They're the one going to Costco to get toilet paper for the bathroom. They're the ones that do. I mean,
yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that.
Let's talk about discipline and delegation. I
it.
think that's what it comes down to, and then systems that you're implementing into your business. That's what we've covered over today, and I'm excited again to hear what you're going to bring out at the panel discussion at Acquisition Conference, but also you've been able to shed some light on some really important things right now for the entrepreneurs, founders out there that are listening. Is there any lasting, things that you're excited about working towards right now with companies, or maybe you have a specific use case that you could share that you're excited or that you've had success with? Yeah.
So no, right now we're actually looking at building courses for business owners separate from the books. Like really, there's a lot of books. I mean, they talk about theory, right? But what is the difference between a CFO, a CPA, a controller, and a bookkeeper?
Don't know.
Right? And everybody should. If you're so many times a business owner will call me and be like, hey, I need a CPA. And my question is,
why?
What for?
Yeah.
Well, I need somebody to, kind of put my receipts together. You mean you need your books reconciled? That's a bookkeeper, right? I need a CPA for what? I'm looking to raise capital. Well, that's not a CPA, that's a CFO, right? So these are the things that I'm excited about moving forward, is continue doing conversations like this, continue to do our interviews on Tuesday morning to help enlighten the business owners so that they are, even if we don't change the numbers, even if the people that we work with, if they become the 1 in 4 that sell, awesome. Let's do that.
So good. Share with us how we get a hold of you, Mike, and then also you have a YouTube channel as well. You have a title for that?
Yep. So do search on YouTube for National Referral Network. It's the repository of professionals that we've kind of put together. There's 200 professionals in the network across the country. Anything from college planning to estate planning and business attorneys, attorneys across the board. But yeah, YouTube there, and you can get a hold of me at my email at mclark@protectionpointadvisors.com.
And we are thrilled, absolutely, to have you at the Acquisition Conference coming in March 21st and 2025. We're going to be talking about how to buy your company, how to sell your company, how to create the most value within your company's life cycle. In addition to that, team, integration, strategy, funding, and artificial intelligence and the rise of technology in the M&A space. We're excited about that, but also to have you there in the room, acting as our sell side interviewer with your plethora of knowledge as well as your ability to articulate.
That's exciting.
So,
I'm looking forward to pushing.
Yeah, man, me too. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to grab your ticket at acquicon.live and make sure to subscribe to the podcast as well. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.